I woke up in this cabin. Very first cabin I slept in for the slave dwelling project. So I woke up Mother's Day. I was not familiar with the property, not at all. So I took a walk, and I ended up. How many of you visited the cemetery on the property? A few hands. When I woke up that morning, I didn't know that cemetery was there, but somehow I ended up in that cemetery. And then I knew the reason I slept in there the previous night. It was because of the folks in the cemetery, the ones who were born enslaved and died free, because they had a headstone. I could identify them easily, and I'm sure some of the folks sitting around this fire can identify them a lot better than I did at that time. But then that was my epiphany, if you will, to let me know that I was on the right track. So now 12 years later, I'm still at it. 25 states later, in the District of Columbia, I'm still at it. So here's what's going to happen, guys. I'm not going to prolong what I'm going to say right now, because I'm going to be saying a whole lot more after we eat. Because after we eat, some of you are going to disperse. Because not all of you are here to engage in this conversation or sleeping in the slave cabin tonight. How many of you are sleeping in the cabins tonight with us? Okay, I see a few hands. Sleeping in the slave cabin. I've been done that before. Which one? That one? Okay, beautiful. Hey, this guy's for real. He grew up there. So what they say. 1981. So what they say is real. What I do, I kind of take a snippet of their experiences, and I travel this nation to do that. But again, I'm going to have more to say before the conversation tonight, because what we have done, we have evolved. Sleeping is easy, and anybody can do it. But the conversation that we're going to engage in tonight before we go to sleep, that's the hardest part of what we do. Because if you look around this audience, you see that there's diversity here. There are people who don't look like all of us and who don't think like all of us. So we're going to get into a conversation tonight that people don't usually talk about amongst people who don't look like them or think like them. But before we get into that conversation, we're going to have a meal. And before we have that meal, I want Chef B.J. Dennis to talk about himself and what we're about to experience here. How y'all doing? I'm B.J.
Hi. Hello.
Real name Benjamin Dennis IV. Family from Daniel Island, King Roy, Clements Ferry. My mother's from actually Allendale County, so she ain't really from this region, but she's quote unquote low country. But yeah, I'm a chef in the city. Actually, I live down in the heart of the low country now, Okatee, down by Beaufort, Port Royal. I appreciate what you do. I'll be honest, coming up after high school, I told myself I'd never go on a plantation, right? And part of that was because we didn't really taught our culture, our history like we should. But now I feel like coming on the plantation is a resurrection for me, is a blessing, because I am here because somebody survived for me to be here. Coming off these plantations, coming off the Middle Passage, coming across that water, coming through West Africa, through the parts of West Africa into the coastline. They survived that journey. They survived the Middle Passage. They survived here for me to do what I'm doing. So today, I'm not gonna talk too much about myself, because we gotta eat. But today, I made some red rice with local Carolina Gold rice. So I used the broken rice, because on the plantation, as you know, Carolina Gold rice was the rice that made this city really rich. And that rice was sent across the world. The King of England, the Emperor of China. That rice actually is still being grown in regions of China. Came from here because of our ancestors. That knowledge of growing rice, rice culture, it's math, it's science, it's astronomy, things that they would say that we didn't have, but we did. It was our knowledge that made that rice pop, made this city what it is. So I did the Carolina Gold rice, but I did the broken rice, because in the narratives, all of them were saying that they were served the broken rice, and the broken rice is supposed to be inferior. But to me, the broken rice has way more taste
long grain rice. So we got that. We got some stewed lamb raised by my friend here, Marvin Ross, third and fourth generation farmer out of Dorchester County. Learned from his grandfather. He raises his animals on the land in the woods. We got some cabbage from Mr. Joseph Fields on Jones Island. I made some cornbread with some old heirloom variety of corn called Jimmy Red that they found on Jones Island a long time ago. And the fellas are making moonshine with it. Well, now this corn is being used by distillers across the country. And I said to myself, I wish that family had known what they had. They didn't want to talk about it because they thought what they were doing wasn't important. But now, guess what? That corn right there is being made, used to make bourbon and all types of stuff right here locally. So we got the cornbread, and we got what I call a campfire cobbler, a cake style cobbler. The only thing I didn't cook on the coals today was the cobbler. I said I want to get that done. But the cornbread is made right here on the coals. Everything else was cooked on the coals. So we got plates, paper napkins, forks over here. I'm gonna pull off these tops. You can kind of start, get your the plate, kind of come around right here. Watch this little log. This brick right here. Oh, we got some local cane syrup. Now, I think cornbread don't need no cane syrup. So this local pressed cane syrup. We have both plastic. I think you don't see that no more in the food here. So everything's kind of smashed. The rice we eat is not grown here. And I feel like our ancestors put all that love unknowingly what they were doing. So now we need to take that rice back. So we do have, like, Mr. Joseph Fields growing this rice again. Marvin's growing this rice. Because that's our history, our people, our culture. We never were able to take advantage of the rice narrative. So we got that. Mr. Joe got the waters in the cooler. So I'm gonna get everything set up and we can eat.
Beautiful.
I got plenty too. I like to try everybody else different kind of cool rice. All this, yeah, let's fill out.
So, Father God, we thank you so much for this food that we're about to receive. We thank you for the hands that prepared it. We thank you for all the various hearts and ethnicity of people and diversity of people who have gathered together to celebrate this 12th anniversary of the Slave Dwelling Project. We ask you to bless this food we're about to receive and the hands that made it. And in the name of Jesus, we give you thanks and honor and glory and praise. Amen.
Amen. And Jeff is going to give us directions on how we should go about serving ourselves.
Look at you eat how you want it. You want cabbage on top of your rice? Add that cabbage on top of your rice. You want that lamb stew on top of your rice? Now this lamb is bone in. When I cook like this, I don't pretty it up. I don't take nothing off the bone. That's the flavor. That's how we grew up eating. So
I do.
So yes, y'all don't be shy.
Do your thing.
Come on up.
Did it go? Did it go? Did it
Oh, yeah,
go?
you
Interpretation. Interpretation. Did it go? Did it go?